Okay, let's switch gear and talk to agriculture. Nigeria is looking to ramp up on its domestic rice production in the new year 2022, with more milling facilities being commissioned across the country. But analysts believe that a whole lot more needs to be done within the agriculture and agro-allied industries. My guest on this tonight is the founder and CEO of FARMCREDIT.NG, African Farmer Mogaji. Great to have you for our first conversation in the new year. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Very interesting. We can't just spend as much time as possible. We can't over-discuss the agriculture space for what everybody believes the value that are locked in there that is taking us so many years and decades to be able to unpack and create jobs, create value, and things of that nature. But let me start from the news that just came in a few days ago. The African Development Bank is working with 7 state governments, and they said they're going to set up special agro-processing zones, special processing zones across the country. This is good policy as we can get it?
So I say that it's not all beautifully packaged programs that end up being sustainable in Nigeria. It's a good initiative, laudable. The question is, have they thought through the dynamics? Ideally, they would have, thought through. However, the realities on ground, the value chains, it's an edifice. It's top-notch processing projects. However, do we have, if it's pineapple, do we have the same variety of pineapples that will fit in to those equipments? The supply chain, have we thought through? These are challenges that we've seen over time with history, especially with state-of-the-art projects. So you look at the tomato industry, you see top-notch factory. Is it sustainable now? No. You look at the fruit processing. The bigger the project, the more that something in the value chain, especially the supply and logistics, it's not in place. Could be
the what you call the Achilles heel.
Yes.
In a manner of speaking. So if you go via tomato, we try tomato in terms of backward integration, making sure we have enough tomato locally and what actually happened?
So what from history, what normally happens in the country and has not changed is that we focus too much on the equipment, on the mega project, on let's bring an equipment that will take care of that will process foods, that will give us take care of 100 million. As against, is this sustainable? So the seeds, the fertilizers, the chemicals required, the logistics, the human capacity development most times is underestimated. And that is what has happened to the tomatoes across all the mega processors in the country. They have top-notch equipment, but the variety of the tomatoes, they've not invested in it. Ideally, it will take 2 to 3 years to develop and educate the farmers to be able to give you the right variety at the right quality with the right quantity. We leave that and focus on the equipment. And that is still the same challenge. I hope this project...
What is a special agro-processing zone? What is it really?
So basically, it's just aggregating processors to be able to take advantage of produce that probably wasting. So each state...
So it's like a factory?
It's a factory. It's a big factory.
Great.
Ultra-modern factory with all the technology,
yes.
At par with the developed countries.
Yes.
So it's just an aggregation of industries within the agriculture.
So you situate one, for example, in Benue State for fruit juice and something like that. Just to use that, you can do tomato and pepper in Kano and elsewhere. But so you put it in Benue State or Niger Republic, Niger State, for example. Yeah. And so do you get all the materials in across the states around there?
Yes.
To get locally made fruit juice?
That's what should be.
Yes.
However, what I've seen as a challenge, because I worked on some of these projects, is that, take for instance, one in a state I won't mention, fruit juice. Now, heavy investment by top-notch successful investors in the country, local. They bought the factory before they discovered that the source of raw material, the orchards, had many varieties that the client they wanted to sell to did not want those varieties.
Of fruits?
Of fruits. So they always focus on, we have the fruits. But is it the fruit?
What type of fruits?
No, so you have various mango varieties. But each drink has a particular variety. So when you mix the variety up, it doesn't give you the taste. So they just see orchards. That's what happened to most of the tomato factories too. They built the factory and now found out that the tomatoes didn't have what you call the brisk level, the sugar level that is required for the factories.
You're breaking my heart. Let's take a break. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back to the show and my conversation on agriculture and agro-allied with the renowned African farmer Mogaji, live from our Lagos studios here. You just broke my heart as we were just going on, and I'm going to repeat that again because I thought we've got everything beautifully well prepared, but here you were nitpicking and breaking it down to show that we have a whole lot more homework to do. So whether we're doing tomato, well, with the exception of maybe rice, but then...
Even rice.
Rice.
Across board.
I thought we've got so many meals on this coming up now that we can just rest assured that we're doing so well.
So we have so many meals. Where are the paddies?
Well, the paddies are the pyramids that you saw.
So the pyramids will disappear after processing. That's like 3 months. After 3 months, do we have paddies in reserve? Because that's the sustainability.
To keep the machines running.
Yeah.
So Lagos has got is in the Imota, the world's largest rice mill, whatever that is. And then you've got Wakot rice mill said they're going to do 120,000 metric tons. That should be coming on stream sometime this year. And a whole lot more. The central bank is commissioning, and I think they commissioned another one today or so in Kano State or so. So that's not enough. So
the reality is the value chain that they need to invest in, we're not giving it preference. Seeds. Because when you invest in seeds, it takes some time for you to see the results. To be able, so if we want to produce rice on a commercial scale today, say the 15 billionaires want to dump money in, we don't have the seeds. So the mills are there. Have we funded the seeds? No. So bottom line is that the rice we have the mills, but do we have the paddies? Who can boast, I stand to be corrected, I stand to be challenged, who can boast that in their mills they have silos that have, they've stored rice that will keep their operations operational for a whole year or for 6 months? And so the threat with climate change today is if it does not rain, all these mills will be out of business.
Pretty soon.
Yes, because there's no reserve.
So whether with rice or tomato, whatever, we haven't fixed issues like storage.
We've not fixed storage.
Or warehousing.
We've not fixed logistics. We've not fixed storage, and we've not fixed input, especially seeds. We've not heavily invested in the seed companies. So we still import quite a lot of seeds. And until we are seed sufficient, we're not food secure. Crucial. But the government has, taken us from where we were to a better position. But until we plug that value chain, we are still not close to being food secure. But we have more paddy. We've had more progress. But guess what? Without that seed security, we will not be food secure.
Aside the seed, do we have, you mentioned a few other issues like human capital in terms of whether we have enough Nigerians trained in agri-technicians, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Call them that? Yes.
So we don't have enough also who are experienced enough to work with the organizations. So the colleges of agriculture, they don't have the facility to train the youths to go do the job.
Yeah.
So mostly we will still depend on foreign hands, majorly to run these things. So the value chain, yes, we have more mills. But do we have more technical hands trained locally to support it? Now, so if one component in the mill, because that happens a lot, if a major component malfunctions and they have to import, what happens? The mill is grounded. So do we have more smaller mills to support it? These are things that our founding fathers, the Awolowos, the Tafawa Balewas, the Nnamdi Azikiwes, they had big projects, they had mid projects, and they had small scale. So at any point in time, the value chain is never stranded.
Okay, can we just go back to that, my friend?
That is what is working in India. That is what is working in Malaysia. It's fully small scale, small, medium. There are 3 layers. We're focusing too much on the big layers. We're focusing on the small scale farmer to just produce. When they produce, the cost of logistics, moving rice, moving tomatoes is huge. So we will be food secure when we begin to also make provision for the small scale processors and the mid scale.
I was talking about the smallholder farmers, but here you've gone to the midstream. So agriculture from downstream, upstream to whatever it looks like, becoming like the oil sector right now, because it looks like we focus a bit more on the sector which is a little bit more like, okay, give us big projects, then everything's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then get the farmers to come from here and bring it in here. But here in the middle, we haven't invested in it. Now, whose job is that?
Well, it's partly government, because government is the one to guide, to direct. And when I say government, it's mostly state, not federal. You see, federal should actually be running like the US government. The US government informing the United States, Washington, D.C. just creates a market for other states. So the federal should also be creating market for both interstate marketing. So Oyo is marketing to Jigawa, to Kaduna. At the same time, the private sector gets too much in a hurry to take advantage of the opportunity that they don't check the value chain and they don't understand the process. That's why most times...
And someone should guide them. Isn't that where the Ministry of Agriculture comes in?
Yeah, that is where the Ministry of Agriculture comes in. However, are they fully exposed to that? That's one. 2 is that you have many people with a capacity. Do they allow them to follow the due process? Is another challenge because of the political networks. So at the end of the day, you have experts there who are not allowed to do their job.
And so, hold on a second. What exactly right now is Nigeria's agric policy, really, if I ask you?
Well, our policy keeps changing. So nobody can say this is the policy beyond. So when you check the budget, really, the budget gives you the direction of where the government is going. Agric received about second to the last in terms of allocation.
For what? For
food, agriculture.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't increase the budget of agriculture...
But that's the money. Mm-hmm. That's the money in the budget, appropriation. Mm-hmm. But what about the policy itself that says this is how this XY amount, well, it could be small, my friend, and I agree. Mm-hmm. But where's the policy on which I put the money? So otherwise, I put the money on there and it doesn't get to deliver on anything. One
thing I will tell you is that we have any policy you can think of. It's put in place. There are policies there on the shelves gathering dust. So one is there a political will to implement those policies?
And where's the policies that will fix the value chain, the midstream that you talked about? Mm-hmm. Does it exist anyway?
It exists. Almost every policy you can think of exists in the Ministry of Agriculture and even the water resources. But is it allowed to find expression? And some of them need to be updated. Mm. So it's government and private sector. Private sector is always doing what I call investment mismatch. Politicians want large numbers. They want to say we were able to get jobs for 100,000, 300,000.
The big numbers.
The big numbers. The private sector wants to make profit. So they take up government projects and they invest and they have misalignment because they are looking at large numbers, not profit. You are looking at profit, not numbers. So the business model should be a social enterprise that marries impact and profit together.
I'm just trying to find out if we're going to make any headway. Do you think this can only be fixed by Ministry of Agriculture? Or do you think aside from Ministry of Resources, do you think Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment should be part of this conversation?
I can tell you categorically, all the ministries are not working together. All. everybody's running in silos. That's why we are where we are. They are not working together. Once Ministry of Finance, CBN, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Water Resources, you won't see Ministry of Youth and Development brought into any of these agri projects. And yet we're talking about bring the youth in.
We're playing football.
So once you don't
we just lost AFCON.
Yeah. So once you don't bring the Ministry of Youth and Development, it means that you have a chair with the 3 legs and one is off. So it will crash eventually. So until the ministries get to, I believe the presidency needs to sit down. I'll sack all the ministers if you don't deliver on this. Because you see Water Resources talking, you see the Minister of Agriculture talking, you see CBN talking.
So essentially, it's not just about the size of the budget for Agriculture Ministry. It's just about the lack of synergy.
Yeah, there's no synergy.
Yeah, because if Agriculture get 10 billion and Water Resources get 12, if just put it all together, then we've got to deliver something.
Yes.
But everybody just get his own budget allocation and nothing is delivered.
And run.
Virtually nothing.
So there's no goal.
Okay. There's no
goal that all of them are working towards, and they must deliver or be queried.
Very interesting. African Farmer Mogaji, thank you so much. He's the founder and CEO at Farm Credit. And if you want some broken heart, he's going to give it to you. But he's very good in agriculture as well. Okay, put it there for our first move in the new year 2022. Let's talk about the East African market. Just a quick one. You sit down there and listen to how the East African market has finished today. That's the Nairobi stock market, 1.2%. The Dar es Salaam stock market finished better by 47. Uganda up by 68 basis points. And Rwanda sitting flattish. What's making the headlines in East Africa, by the way? In the news box tonight is the Kenya's inflation at 5.39% in January because cost of living is a little bit. Onga Group says it's closed a joint venture deal with animal feed firm Notreco, and that's talking about agriculture, by the way. And Uganda inflation declined to 2.7% in January, slightly from 2.9% in the month of December. And Ethiopia's 6-month horticulture earnings, 20%, $286 million US. We're going to break the rule of production. Do you have any money from horticulture, my friend? No. That's $286 million from just selling flowers. And this is February.
It's not my focus.
Not our focus.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the Valentine thing, we're going to be importing it.
Most of the flowers is imported, but we have the strength. We have the Taraba, the Jos that can grow, but it's a value chain we're not even looking at as a country.
No, it's too old to get back to the farm. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great time tonight. Africa Farmer Mogaji.